There's a certain feeling, I think, of hopelessness that I think has always been there, throughout humanity when countries, certain groups of people, even individuals go through very traumatic events and war and social injustice. It can be very overwhelming. And I think social media and the rise of technology and the internet and how quickly we receive information and current events, I think that only amplifies it. And I think this feeling is more and more common. I saw this tweet the other day from this young woman who is obviously going through this, feeling of hopelessness and just kind of what is the point? She said, jobs are gone, thrifting is ruined, music and movies are getting worse, there's no housing, romance is dead, authenticity is dying. Genuinely, what is there to live for? I think feeling this way is completely valid because in a lot of ways this is true, even just down to the things that we buy on an everyday basis. It's like things don't last as long, things are kind of made quickly and cheaply so they can fall apart, so we have to buy new ones, even like the new iPhone. That's been a current topic recently in my life, talking with friends, like, are you getting a new phone? And everyone's talking about how their current phone has suddenly become super glitchy because the new one came out. So this feeling, I think, is also kind of hard to escape almost or distract yourself with because it's very embedded in pretty much all aspects of our life. I think because this is something that a lot of people have gone through or are going through, there are things that we can do and listen to each other and tips and tricks, if you will, that we can start to implement into our daily personal lives that kind of ease this a little bit and that reduce that feeling of hopelessness. Because, it's one thing to be angry, it's one thing to be sad, but hopelessness just feels so like this is it, I guess, I don't like to feel angry, but when I feel angry, I'm more likely to take action, on whatever it is I'm angry about, or I'm going to change something. But when you feel hopeless, it's like there's no point in even trying. So I think a big part of it is just addressing and accepting and reminding yourself that even though it is serious and the issues that you may be thinking about or what you're going through is serious and valid, hopelessness is, again, a feeling. So we can validate our feelings without accepting them as absolute truth. And I think a lot of this comes down to mindfulness. Something I've been running into a lot lately, I will feel very rushed in everything that I do. And it just feels like everything almost becomes a waste of time because I'm so looking forward to the next thing. I just kind of had this realization the other day that I'm not even enjoying things sometimes because I just want to get to the next thing. So I really had to take a step back and remind myself about mindfulness. You're never going to get the results that you want, whether that's in your personal life, whether that's in your relationships, in your career, and in the world as a whole, if you're coming at it with that energy of impatience or hopelessness or regret, like, oh, I've already wasted so much time. What's the point in moving forward? Oh, this is already bad. What's the point in trying to make it good? Those feelings can be what propels you to make a change, but you're never really going, most of the time, you're not going to get your results in feeling that way. For example, I have really been trying to cut down on scrolling and just being on my phone. Once I started being a little more mindful of how often I wanted to grab my phone, just do a little scroll through Twitter or TikTok or whatever, I was a little surprised. And then it's like, no wonder you feel like you're wasting so much time. Sometimes midday, I will get kind of that crash, like the afternoon slump. I would just get so frustrated at my body for just making me feel so unproductive, right in the middle of the day when I have all these things I want to get done. And so I would be like, no, push through, make another coffee, this and that. But ultimately, that was a bigger waste of time because I wouldn't be as focused on what it is I had to do. I would ultimately end up scrolling more because I am tired. And so that was ultimately a bigger waste than if I am to just honor the fact that, okay, I'm a little tired, let me take a nap or just do a meditation or do legs up the wall. That's been a big thing for me, reintroducing legs up the wall and actively rest, actively take a break. So I'm not kind of half-ass taking a break by doom scrolling and then like kind of trying to get work done, but like, oh no, if I actually take a break, that's going to be such a waste of time. Stop trying to take shortcuts, basically. If you need to take a rest, fully take a rest. Honor what it is that your body is trying to tell you. A lot of this comes down to mindfulness. So in this instance, if we're talking about hopelessness and feeling overwhelmed, I would start, I think probably the easiest way to start is just by being a little mindful at your habits throughout the day. When do you tend to go to your phone as a source of relief and, what you think is a relief and a break, and then you end up doom scrolling, making yourself upset over things? And is everything in your life aligned in a way that is going to best support you, your mental health, your physical health, your emotional well-being, everything? And I don't want to be basic or like, oh, it's easy, you just do this. Like, somebody had replied to this girl's tweet and they were like, just heal your gut. But to an extent, that's kind of true, and that's why I always say we have to better ourselves in order to create a better world. Because when you feel your best, you can get out there, put your best foot forward, and make a change. And even just the power of, impact that you will have on those around you and in your community, that makes changes in and of itself. It's very easy to get overwhelmed by these huge issues. We're not meant to tackle these things as individuals. And I think to an extent, although social media and the internet, it's an amazing tool. There are amazing tools out there. But I don't really think we were meant to be exposed to this much information and different people's opinions all the time, 24/7. This isn't just get more steps and you'll feel better, but all of these little habits add up. And I saw this amazing graphic. It was so simple on Instagram Reels the other day. It was like the importance of taking small steps. And this is so true for our individual lives and for making a change and an impact in our world. Every emotion is temporary and fleeting, and there are so many tools to realign yourself with purpose. I always think of being in the flow state and just feeling that inner peace. I think there's nothing better than that. And that's not a forever feeling. No feeling is permanent. But when you can have certain tools and things that help you to feel your best self and to nurture yourself and heal yourself, your mind, your body, your spirit, that is what is truly going to help. So much of life is just trying to restore balance, because things happen out of our control. Again, whether it's in our personal lives or in the greater world, we can only make a positive impact or create the change or begin to create the change and take those small steps to the world we want or the life we want when we are in a clear headspace. And again, like things like anger and sadness and even hopelessness can be the catalyst to where that change comes from and grows from. I think mindfulness plays such a huge role in that, because without recognizing where you are mentally or what you're going through, it's going to be that much harder to get yourself out of it and realigned. I posted the tweet on my story, so I'm going to read some of the responses you guys had. But before that, I just wanted to give an official shout out to my merch, the Glow Up Club. We got shirts, we got mugs, we got hoodies, we got crew necks, hats, stickers. There's a little stuffed bear that I really want, but it's out of stock. But so cute, and I have just some really great things planned for the rest of this year and going into 2025. So I'm so excited, and thank you so much for all the love on the merch. I released it last Friday, so make sure you cop. And I also made a Instagram page for it if you guys want to follow Glow Up Club, because we've been glowing up since the olden days. I will link it down below, of course. So these are some of the things people had to say in response to this tweet and what they do when feeling hopeless and kind of overwhelmed by the negative aspects of our current society. This girl says, find something to look forward to, try something new, make time to express gratitude, and journal. This is so true. I agree to all of that. That all helps me. Connecting with my community at music festivals and being in spaces of authentic connection. Kind of just snap myself out of it, because that's literally only like that if you look at it that way. Literally, you really have to curate your own little reality. I had a baby with a man I knew for 2 months. Now she's my purpose, but that's probably bad advice for most. LMAO, bro. all due respect, like, God bless this girl and her baby and her family, but there's got to be a better way. Another girl literally says, my kid is the only thing I live for, TBH. Aw. Somebody says, disassociate and expect I'll die by 30 anyway. Babes, no, this is not the mindset we need to have. I think continually learning and getting excited about how much there is to experience and learn and maybe places to travel to. And then also having mentors, even just people you follow or people older than you that you look up to. I think especially as a woman, that's very important. Centering your life around being in service to others. Go with friends to a movie in a packed theater. You will feel good for a while. Talking to friends, visualizing a perfect scenario where everything works out. I've definitely felt this way, but then it passes and life feels worth living. In a lot of these, I'm seeing connection, which is essential for humans. But I think just feeling heard and understood and being able to talk with, it could literally be one person, you know, but just connecting with someone on that deeper level. And a lot of these are also mindset focused. So you kind of have to take control, because if you're just scrolling, God forbid, watching the news, you're going to start to feel bad, because a lot of these things are also meant to keep you hooked in and engaged. You know, the 24-hour news cycle, algorithms, they're meant to keep you like hooked, so you keep scrolling and keep getting these companies paid. So you have to actively, and this is where the mindfulness comes in, you have to actively pull back and realize, like, okay, I'm stuck in this loop, let me go do something that's actually going to make me feel good in real life. Relax my nervous system, get me more focused on the present. It could literally just be some deep breaths in the bathroom at work, but you know, a little light walk around the block. But things like this will help us get back to balance. But again, it starts with mindfulness. So it really does come back to us. And again, I think just reminding ourselves that the power is in the people and the power is within me. So every day is an opportunity to be more authentic, to be more aligned with my truest path, my highest self, my glowed up self. How can I make a positive impact on the world today? I mean, not to literally repeat myself in every episode, but this is literally why, you know, saying hi to people is important, cultivating community. I'm going to try my best. I'm going to make choices that positively impact my life and the rest of the world. It does kind of create a ripple effect, you know? So I would love to hear your thoughts on this whole topic, you know, hopelessness, feeling overwhelmed, the election, anything. I next wanted to talk about my first week of sober October. So first week is down. I have not had a drink since September 28th, and I'm just doing this as a personal challenge. I'm not doing this because I felt like my drinking was out of control or I felt like I had a problem. It was more so, you know, I would go out on the weekend. There goes the camera. I would go out on weekends from time to time, probably a couple times a month. A little more, you know, in the peak of summer, but I'm not someone who likes to go out during the week. I just, whatever. But it just got to a point where every single time I would go out, I could literally just go to a happy hour with the girlies, have a couple, maybe glasses of wine, and just regret it so much. Regret it when I would get home, regret it the next day, even if I was not terribly hungover or anything. I would just feel the difference so much. And it just was happening enough times to where I was like thinking about sober October. I think I tried it before, like maybe in 2018. Let me just, you know, I'll think about it maybe. And I think I even said in a podcast, like, I might do it. And then that weekend before, the last weekend of September, I went out. Y'all, like, no offense, like, this is not a diss to anyone I was with that night, but it just ended up not being a fun time for me. It was like raining, my phone was glitching. I just kind of felt annoyed the whole night, and then I felt like the next day was a complete waste, and then I ended up getting a little sick after that. So I was basically like, this is my sign, you know, I'm definitely gonna do sober October. So the first week has been really easy. Again, I'm not someone that would drink throughout the week. You know, I'm not really the type to have a glass of wine at home by myself, even. Like, I would just rather have a sleepy time tea. For me, it's more like the social aspect. I did turn down an invite this past weekend, but that wasn't really hard because I don't think I would have wanted to go anyway. Like, it was a random event. I was just like, it was just so nice to have a weekend where I was completely productive, full energy in doing, you know, my tasks. Usually on a Sunday, I like to deep clean, go do my laundry, do some meal prepping, and just kind of have a very relaxing domestic day. And I would usually plan, if I was going to go out, I would plan for that day to be the day like my hungover day. It was just so nice to not be hungover or even just a little tired while I was doing these tasks and getting my steps and all that. So far, I'm really glad that I'm doing this. I'll update you guys each week. But yeah, my time is just so important to me. I think especially as I'm getting older and I feel like my hangovers are worse. And again, even just like a couple glasses of wine, I will feel the difference and just like that dehydrated feeling. I just hate that. And I want to have a really solid end to 2024. I want this to be the best quarter yet, So let me know if you are doing sober October or if you've ever experimented with, not drinking for a certain amount of time, or if you are sober, what are your tips and tricks? My friend was like, well, you're gonna come out on Halloween, right? And I was like, I mean, maybe. Like, I'm not like counting down the days. Like, I kind of just want to do this to see how much of a difference it makes, and then I might just keep going, because I got the little app on my phone. It shows me how many days I've gone without, and it's kind of motivating, It's like, I don't want to have a drink and like have to go back to zeros. So again, would love to hear your thoughts on anything I discussed. I am going to go upload some pictures of my merch to my IG, so make sure you follow. Links below to purchase. Thank you guys so much for all the support, and of course for listening, and I will talk to you guys next week.